Howdy folks, I'm Horrible Hobgoblin, horrifyingly hounding haunted hounds.
I'm Amber.
And here are more haunted hounds for us to haunt, or hound, I don't know. Why are we chasing ghosts as hobgoblins? I don't know. Let me know what your theories on that are. Let's get started. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Punishing My Son for Convincing My Daughter That Girls Don't Have Body Odor? So this led to an argument between my husband, a 38-year-old male, and I, a 37-year-old female. I had noticed that our daughter, an 8-year-old female, was taking showers 3 to 5 times per day. When I talked to her, she got upset and called herself a freak. She said that something is wrong with her. I asked her what was wrong, and she said that she's not a girl because she stinks sometimes. I was so confused, and I found out that my son, a 13-year-old male, had told her that girls don't have body odor. I told her that she's normal and that girls do have body odor. I told her that I stink sometimes and I'm normal. She calmed down. I had already established my dislike of pranks with my son, and when I talked to him, I grounded him for a week. My husband thinks that I was too harsh on our son. He said that things like that are normal between big brothers and their little sisters. But he didn't see how freaked out our daughter was. I told him that our son needs to learn that pranks can go seriously wrong. My husband called me a killjoy, so am I the jerk? Alright folks, what do you think?
Not the jerk, and it seems like I can see where your son gets this from. It seems like you've got a serious husband problem here. Your son should not be doing things that are hurtful to your daughter. Any prank that ends in someone being upset and feeling bad about themselves is not okay.
Yeah, well, the fact that she was like showering 3 to 5 times a day, I mean, that right there seemed really particularly it was very cruel for him to do if it made her this self-conscious, right? And it's gonna give the poor kid a complex, right? And I'm glad that OP stepped in and was like, oh no, that's perfectly normal, right? That's what people wear deodorant for, right? And the thing is that she really sincerely believes that something was terribly wrong with her, and that's not good. That's really not good for an 8-year-old.
No,
right?
I mean, it sounds like the poor kid is going through puberty early, and her brother taking advantage of her lack of knowledge, is very uncool. He's old enough to know better.
But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Altruistic Bunny says, not the jerk. Just because boys have always teased, tormented, and played pranks does not make it right. The real killjoys are your son and husbands. You can have fun that is not at the expense of someone else. Your son let your daughter think that something was seriously wrong with her for days. He was fine watching her suffer, and probably finding it amusing, for the whole time. That's just cruel. Ask your husband why he cares so little about your daughter being distressed and worried that something was wrong for days. Is your son's amusement so much more important than your daughter thinking that she's a normal girl? He better not give you she needs to toughen up nonsense too. Maybe your son needs to learn to respect others. Yes, kids will do things that they think are jokes or teasing, but the second they see the hurt they inflict, they need to apologize. And to add, your husband needs to be grounded too. I think this person said it very well. And Accomplished Face 4534 says, not the jerk, but your son and husband are. Boys will be boys is not a valid excuse for bullying behavior, or any bad behavior. Now I'll accept boys will be boys when they bring home frogs and snakes, but not for bad behavior. Your son needs to understand that he can cause major psychological damage saying and doing things like that. It's also time to have a sit down with your daughter and talk to her about things like body odor, menstrual cycles, etc. if you haven't already. And Dumb Blondie 0 says, oh yeah, I still remember when my brother called my legs fat a few years back. My dad just laughed it off and defended my brother. I must have been in my mid-teens, and admittedly, he was young at the time. Probably pre-teens, as we were a little over 3 years apart. I was already insecure, as it felt disproportional to my body, even though I know that I was healthy. But it was a major cause of insecurity for me, especially since I might have an eating disorder, which made it worse. I still remember it like 5 years later, and still stings a bit when I think about it. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Refusing to Read Someone's Tarot? I'm a 31-year-old female, and I like witchy things. Tarot cards, I make my own herbal tinctures, I'm fully vaccinated, and I believe in science, just getting that in. Crystals, etc. That being said, I consult tarot cards for fun. If I'm being audited by the IRS, I'm consulting an accountant, not tarot. My wife, a 38-year-old, had a lump on her breast last spring, and I made a doctor's appointment and I didn't consult tarot. Was benign, thank goodness. The most extreme I get would be having a run-of-the-mill bad day, consulting the tarot, and using that to help inform what I might do next, like take a long bath or something. I have a friend, Grace, 30s, who is in legal trouble. I don't know if I can say here without breaking the rules, but her thing isn't a speeding ticket that you just want to contest and show up in court for. This is a situation where she needs to hire her own lawyer and probably be prepared for some serious repercussions. Well, anyways, she asked me if I could read her tarot to see the outcome of the situation, and I refused. A, because she hasn't done anything yet. Her court day is approaching, and as far as I know, she still doesn't have legal representation. And B, tarot cards might give her a "it's a fine" answer, but the judge and jury in Massachusetts are going to decide on their own. I told her no, that she needs to find a lawyer. Grace got really upset, saying that this would help her know what to expect and put her mind at ease, and that I wasn't being a good friend. I think a good friend is someone who gives their friends hard truths. But tarot doesn't always take long and could make her feel better, so am I the jerk? Edit, I just got like 7 inbox requests for tarot readings. I'm not doing that. Also, to answer some questions, I use tarot as a soothing tool, an advice tool, and yes, for fun. I find it helps me think things more thoroughly, and it's more than a party game to me, but it's not life or death. All right, folks, what do you think?
No, not the jerk. I think you're being very responsible here. It seems like the friend is not taking things as seriously as she should, and that's a problem. Granted, since you're the one reading the cards, there are a possibility that like you could read them in a way that like is like go get a lawyer. But I can definitely understand why you wouldn't feel comfortable reading her tarot in this situation.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the problem I have here, is that OP, isn't, the thing is this. OP is allowed to give a tarot reading if they want to or not, right? It's their tarot deck, and the friend is asking them for a consultation, and the OP is refusing, right? And the friend needs to respect that answer and not push OP into doing something that they don't want to do, right? And I think that this is just kind of a basic respect type of thing. OP doesn't feel comfortable giving a tarot reading for the situation, and the friend needs to accept that as that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as for the friend, like OP is trying to tell them that they're in danger, that they need to go and find a lawyer ASAP. Like, they can't rely on OP's tarot readings in this particular case because there are a lot of things that could go terribly wrong in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't think that OP is being unreasonable. I think the friend just needs to accept OP's answer here and go find a lawyer.
Exactly.
But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Criticizing My Sister for Wanting Her Son to Be Right-Handed? My nephew is 2, and the last time I was visiting, my sister could see that he was coloring, actually attempting to color, with something with crayons, and I didn't even realize that he was using his left hand until my sister took the crayon from him and put it in his right hand. I noticed that he seemed to be left-handed, and she was encouraging him to get used to using his right, which sounds ridiculous to me. Like, what's the problem? And I called my sister out on it, and she said that she was just quote-unquote giving him a push in the right direction, because left-handed people have to get used to so many stuff that are designed for right-handed people. And she was mad because I was acting like she was one of those old school teachers that would force kids to be right-handed. She said that if he continues to use his left hand when he starts going to school, then she will just quote-unquote accept it. The entire conversation seemed ridiculous to me, and I thought that she was just making things harder for him. And she ended up saying that I have no say in how to raise her son. So I just kept quiet, but I'm not sure if I overstepped or if I was a jerk for saying anything. All right, folks, what do you think?
No, not the jerk. What she is doing is not okay. Her son has a natural handedness and needs to be able to write in the way that feels most comfortable to him. End of story.
As a person who is left-handed, I have never once felt like the world was so unfair to me that I needed to be right-handed. So sure, some things are more difficult, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like when you're a kid in school and you're trying to use a right-handed pair of scissors, it can be a little bit challenging, right? But it's not the end of the world. Like, I learned how to use right-handed scissors with my left hand, right? So much to the fact that I don't even like left-handed scissors. I just use right-handed scissors with my left hand. You might think that that doesn't make a difference, but it makes a world of difference in how the blades cut and stuff like that.
Well, and a lot of schools now will even like supply left-handed scissors. I remember when I was in high school, we had to do some kind of project and I grabbed the left-hand scissors by accident and I was like trying to use them with my right hand and like these scissors just were not working as I needed to, but I didn't want to like I was too embarrassed to like put them back and get other scissors, so I had to like use the left-handed scissors with my right hand.
Yeah. Now you know the pain and suffering I've gone through. And I mean, there's a lot of things that, there's nothing wrong with being left-handed. And I think that at the end of the day, the kid is going to learn to adapt. And that adaptability is a strength at the end of the day. So I think that while her concerns are valid and that she might be looking out for their child, I just think that it's misplaced. So I think that she just needs to let the kid develop naturally in the way that they feel most comfortable with. And if they end up being left-handed, they end up being left-handed.
And there's a long time until he starts school, and it sounds like she's just going to try and force him until he starts school. Which, like, again, she doesn't want to feel like she's being one of those old school like type people, but that's exactly what she's doing.
It is. She might not be enforcing it with like a ruler and slapping the kid's hand, but she is acting still old school in that respect. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Key Demand 2569 says, info, what do you mean by called her out on it? Because that's literally the most important aspect to this to me, and you were pretty vague about it. No jerks here. I disagree with your sister's approach, but it doesn't sound like she's actively abusing him or something like that. She is just thinking that life might be easier if he can naturally be right-handed this early in his life. Again, I do not think that she's correct here, but it just doesn't seem that serious of an issue at this point. If you dug your heels in and all implied that she's abusive or a bad mother, then yeah, you're the jerk. But other than that, it's nothing big. Let it go on unless you notice signs of abuse or obsessiveness about the issue. She's ultimately right that she's the parent and you're not. You won't improve anything by digging your heels in at the I am gently encouraging them to use the right hand more stage of parenting. And OP replies, I first tried to understand what she was doing, and I thought that she was doing it for the reasons that I had imagined. Did you really just switch this to his right hand because he was using his left? And then when her reasoning was clear, I said, why did you even do that? Don't you realize that you're making things harder for him already? You're creating a problem when there's none, or something like that. To be clear, I admit that my tone left it very apparent that I was shocked by her reasoning, and also that I found the whole thing absurd. But that's really how I felt at the moment. And Muppet Maniac says, forcing left-handed children to be right-handed can cause significant emotional damage, not the jerk. And Icy Air 9081 says this, I'm a lefty, pretty much ambidextrous, and my husband is a straight-up lefty. All three of our children are righties, their choice. Out of 7 grands, 1 is lefty, 1 ambi, and the rest are righties. My sister, 3 years younger than me, was taken care as an infant by our grandmother. She was leaning towards being a lefty, and Granny forced her to use her right hand. She has so many emotional issues and had a very hard time in school. Is there a correlation? I've always thought so. Let a child use the hand that is natural for them. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
Where do banshees get their hair done?
Oh, banshees get their hair done at the Screaming Good hair salon that's run by the banshee down the street. It's kind of bancherific.
At the Beautician.
Oh, Beautician. That makes sense.
And it's National Costume Swap Day.
So make sure to go to your neighbor's house and swap your costume for theirs. Preferably without them knowing.
No, don't do that. Only swap costumes with people who agree to it.
And I have Mega Mint. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Friday, folks. I can't believe it. It's finally Friday. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it on bad pranks.
If your prank hurts another person, then it is a bad prank and should not be done.
Exactly. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.